Excuse me. Hey guys, Mongo here. A lot of requests to figure out what do I do in the mornings when I wake up. My thought process, my analysis, what tools I use, what do I look at from time frames down to other things. So I always start out with a daily, uh, and let me get you a clean chart so I can kind of show you some stuff. This is the half clean chart. This is a dirtier chart than that. Let's go off to somebody I probably have never used before. All right, let's try Bitfinex. Still a bullish uptrend, bullish structure. This is a clean chart. I have nothing on here other than the 200-day moving average. We're finishing a nice cup and handle pattern. Looks bullish. And this is what this looks like on the trigger wave. You're about to get a nice little one here with the VWAP turning up and the money flow coming up on the market cipher momentum wave. I do look at these a lot. VWAP is very powerful, especially the larger time frames, and so is the money flow. So keep in mind, weekends are kind of funky. So I don't trade weekends unless there's a big move, and usually I just react to it at that point instead of actually trying to plan it, because a lot of times that's how you get diced up and screwed. So there's the daily. I'll move on down to the 12-hour at that point. Kind of see the same thing. We're at a very large local resistance and support flip. As you can see, if we go back, this level has held so many times as support. So this is just a matter of time, in my opinion, before we break through this, break through it, come back down, retest it, and then we're off to the races again. We still have a target from our inverse head and shoulders and the cup and handle between 37,000 and 38,000, which in that case, you can see we would bump our head on the last level of support, which will currently be resistance around the 37.6 mark. That's my thought process currently on that point. Then I scroll down to the 8-hour, look at the 8-hour, zoom in some more. 8 hours, got a little trigger wave, it looks good. 6-hour, same thing, money flow starting to come back in. This was the SEC fudding out the market, so that dump was just silly. It caught a lot of experienced traders that I follow off sides. They weren't even, you can't expect that. It's just a little black swan event. 5-hour, money flow is getting much thicker on the 5-hour. That's good. We're in like technically a bullish cone here. 4-hour. 4-hour, you do have money flow leaving, so that's something that's a little concerning, but again, it's the weekend. So worst case, just wait till Monday and then reevaluate. 3-hour, money flow is nearly gone, but you've got a small trigger wave, so someone's trying to move the price back up into the range. I always like to pull these trend lines and get an idea of the value area high, the point of control, and the value area low. We're smack dab in the middle. We usually ping pong around in between these three lines for most ranges before a breakout. So that's where you look for either a breakdown or a break up to confirm a trend change. 2-hour, starting to build a little bit. Money's coming back in. You can see the green dots. Money flow is turning up. If you zoom in a little bit, yeah, VWAP's up too. That's good. VWAP is up. It's likely to come back down. It's been up for a while. Yeah, VWAP is turning down at this point, even though price is going up. So that would be an indicator of potentially more bearish movement in the next hour. Doesn't mean you still can't get a short and drive higher. Just off the hourly time frames, this is what I'm looking at currently is an SFP. Probably. Who knows it'll go this high, but that would be the ultimate goal. That would be the best case scenario for a short. Second would be this level, and then third is this guy right here. You don't know what an SFP is. It's just basically a structural change from the direction you're currently trending into the opposite direction. So it would look something like this. It looks like, let's do that. Blast up. Take out all the stop losses from anybody who is short. Short. In a lot of cases, you need to be careful because it couldn't just dump from here. It can just rocket straight up from there. But a lot of cases, it does come back down, Whales set new stop losses up here, and then that's where you could really get ping ponging again, where it can SFP this low and then totally fake you out, thinking it's going to dump down to zero. It's going to take up more stop losses on longs, and then set its own stop loss, confirm. It'll come back down and hopefully scare people out, and then it goes rocketing again. And then you got a nice bullish pattern. So, market makers and whales are interesting. They come, it's human psychology, so all of it kind of comes into play at some point. You kind of recognize patterns after a while, but this is the main pattern in a small time frame that's mostly played out. And the Wyckoff is also something that's played out quite a bit on smaller time frames, and it's harder to see on bigger time frames. But that's what I would be looking for. Let's do 30-minute. 30-minute looks bullish, but a little peaky. Your little topping symbol here. But look what happens last time. You usually get a topping symbol, but that's during the week. You get a push up, topping signal, push up, topping signal. Let's see what happens if it pushes up again. But again, it is Saturday. You have no divergences, either bullish or bearish. So that's fine. Let's check our local range. You've come down and tested and confirmed the value area high. That's very bullish, so that would be good for the short term. Let's see if it can just bounce on the top of that before moving higher, allowing the momentum wave to kind of cool down a little bit. 10-minute, you get a red dot. Let's use indicator. It's going to come down. As you see, every time I have a red dot here, it comes down quite a bit. Red dot, quite a bit. Another significant red dot at a peak, down. Yeah, the worst you're going to get of these. This is usually a significant dump. If you see a little trigger wave fail and get rejected off a level, and even a red dot didn't even have time to print here, and it just flushed. But I think that was not as bad. If I look up here at the, yeah, you can't expect news from the SEC last second, and then people are already in a bullish mood, and then just completely algorithms dump the whole price. So usually if I wanted to make an entry, I'll look at the 6 and 3 minute and then down to the 1 minute. So if I wanted to play this, money flow is pretty stable. VWAP's coming back up into the positive area. 5 minutes confirming what I saw in the 6 minute, 3 minute. 3 minute, there's no divergences there in the 3 minute that I see. VWAP is still above the 0 line. The 1 minute, yeah, this would not be a good entry. You would look for something to retrace back down. You're about to print, potentially, another red dot. So you're also losing momentum as price is slightly going higher. So I'd wait for a pullback of some sort if you still think that this is going to be moving higher. What I would do is wait for a retracement back or close to this value area high, and then you can move higher from there. Or you just draw a fib. In a lot of cases, I draw fibs if I want to make an entry. So I'll take the last little move, and I'll go from here, draw a fib. So it's getting rejected off the 236 on that pull. I pull it the opposite way. Get an idea off that low. It's actually bullish, so I would literally wait for confirmation to get above 786 just because we're in a weekend. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with your pants down. All right, those are the time frames I usually look at. Let's go back to an actual chart I use. So let me zoom out a little bit. So this one has the SIPs and a lot of other little things on it. Here's my dirty chart. I got a bunch of crap on this chart. Let's see if it pulls up. I haven't redone some levels. I've been busy the past 2 weeks, so I haven't really seen much. But yeah, you can see the levels I had drawn out in this one. So I will redraw levels at a certain point. So after just looking at price action, the money flow, the VWAP, the momentum waves in correlation with the price. If I want to make an entry, I come over here and I look at this guy too. This is on the 1 minute. It gives me an idea what the whales are doing. So anybody over 100, over I think it's over $50,000. Excuse me, $100,000. So these are orders over $100,000, and they're going shorts and longs, and it gives me an idea of where the immediate mindset is, also to where the liquidations are. So you want to know if the price action is actually being bought versus being squeezed, right? So you don't want to buy into what you think is a rally because you think people are buying, but really what's happening is someone lost $1 million in 1 second and drove the price up $300. So, of course, in Bitcoin, it takes a lot more than that to move the price, but you get the idea what I'm saying. So you want to make sure that it's a legitimate price movement versus a liquidation. And if it's a liquidation, that's a good point to sell. A lot of cases, just because, as you saw, liquidation here in purple, it shot up to a new high, and then the AI and algorithms took advantage of that, shorted it, and or sold off, and then rebought back in. If I could draw fibs here, this looks like a 618 bounce off a fib. So that's what I use this for. I could also use CoinGlass over here. I also like to pull the 4-hour and the 5-minute. I could start with the 4-hour and go down from there on both of these. This gives you all the exchanges and their short-long ratios, so you can kind of see what the whole nation/world is thinking. It's kind of deceptive on that because it's got Friday's data still in here, but 50-50. If you move down to the 5-minute, you're going to start to see that longs are taking over. But a second ago, shorts were, so it's interesting. This was a lot lower 5 minutes ago. So that bounces around. And then I use my lovely tool here with Trading Light. It allows me to see, let me get off this thing. All right. Sorry, I'm just drawing an SFP from earlier, but you get the idea. It's kind of the same thing I was looking at earlier. You have limit orders shown for here for Binance, so it's the largest exchange in the world, so that makes the most sense to monitor Binance in terms of what spot values are doing. So it gives you an idea of what whales are selling for or aiming for. Like I said, I'm still thinking a bullish trend up for the near term. As you can see, they have quite a heavy level of BTC set at some spots. So 346 BTC to sell here at the exactly $31,000 mark. You have another 212 to sell at the 31,205 mark. And you have the 31,500 mark, another 265. And then if it does run as high as the SFP level I talked about, just under 32,000, or it's exactly 32,000, they have another 295 BTC to sell at that point. And then if you zoom out, you get an idea of kind of, if this is another confirmation I look for in terms of, is my bias right? Am my mind in the right direction? Is the bullish bias good? And it says yes. If you look down here, there's nothing until you hit 27.9. There is some bias. We can zoom in a little bit. There's 169 down at 29,000, 205 down at the 29.5. But if you can see, I mean, a lot of the whales move these things around a lot, so you got to be careful. This could just automatically change based on bias in market sentiment and their AI and their lovely calculations. But for the most part, I found this to be super, super helpful. That's the 1 hour, and I jumped down to the 5 minute. And I can see what price is doing, and it's starting to break out like I talked about. So, yeah, they got a while to go to. This could run up to 31,000. So that's kind of what the whales are thinking, and that's probably what they're going to push the price to. And that would go with what I just talked about earlier in terms of a market structure change of the SFPs. So that's basically what I look at when I wake up. I've been up for 15 minutes now, have a protein shake and a cup of coffee and or energy drink, and I'm just looking at the market. Normally I don't trade weekends unless it's a big move, and at that point I react to the big move, either short or long. But for the most part, weekends is where I've lost the most amount of money, so I try not to trade weekends. And plus I have a growing family, so wife and kids still like when I'm not around on weekends. But they're at the beach right now, so I'm by myself and happy. All right, so none of this is financial advice. You have questions, stop off in the Discord, say hello in the price chat. You have certain coins from metaverse coins, the betting coins. I can do chart analysis on some of that stuff. And we can go from there. Thank you, D Hedge fam, and I will talk to you soon.